Hi, everybody. My name is Steve Litwin, and I'm a manager at Citron Cooperman.
And I am also Asuwata, and I'm a senior at Citron Cooperman.
We are located in Los Angeles and are part of the West Coast Cannabis Advisory Services Practice. Today on this quick talk, we're going to share with you a little bit about the California cannabis market and what makes us so unique.
Here are some interesting facts about the California cannabis industry. The global cannabis market is a $20.47 billion industry. California is the largest state in the US and represents 22% of the global market space at $4.4 billion. This is up 57% from the prior year. In comparison, cannabis sales in Oregon have just surpassed $1 billion for the first year, and sales in Massachusetts recently hit $700 million, even as it saw some of the strictest store closures during the pandemic. Today, we're going to speak about management services agreements and California cannabis licensing. Hey, Steve, can you tell us what a management service agreement is? And have you been seeing a lot of companies operating under MSAs in the state of California recently?
Sure, and thanks, Osa. A management services agreement is an agreement between businesses and consultants that identifies and articulates the business relationship between the parties so that both parties can feel confident that their objectives and expectations are clear and understood so their needs can be met. The amount of companies operating under MSAs has increased exponentially because of the regulatory framework, the infancy of the cannabis industry, and the process of the cannabis economy reaching a perfectly competitive marketplace. In general, there are three reasons for an MSA that we regularly encounter. First, a company is engaged in a transaction subject to regulatory approval. So what this means is that you found a licensed cannabis company that you want to acquire, you've gone through due diligence, the purchase agreement is signed, and then there's a timing delay. And that timing delay is because you need to report the change of control at every level of licensure approval in California, which usually occurs at the city level, and you can't close the deal until the regulatory approval is received at all levels. So to span the time that it takes to get new owners on the license, you'll operate under an MSA to clearly articulate the various terms of the agreed upon relationship between the parties as if you already controlled it. Second, if somebody is looking to move into a new jurisdiction and wants to prove out the model before committing more capital, oftentimes they will find a similar operator that needs cash and isn't producing at full capacity and try to buy that additional capacity. Or third, if somebody is looking to operate in the cannabis space and never intends to get licensed, they may reach out to a company that is overproducing and buy their product and private label it as their own. Also, please note that MSAs cause complexities for financial statement and tax provision purposes. So if control is met, then the MSA entity should be included in your GAAP financials with the non-controlling interest backed out. However, for tax purposes, the MSA entity files a separate return and is not included in the consolidated tax return. So if you encounter any of these situations, please make sure to reach out to us if you are preparing tax provisions, if you have any questions about MSAs, or any questions about licensing as well. This concludes our MSAs for today. So Osa, in terms of cannabis licensing, what is typically the process for cannabis companies to obtain licensing in the state of California?
Thanks, Steve, and good question. Licenses start at the local jurisdictions. However, before you can even apply for a provisional license, you need to get city or county authorization. The next choice you will need to make is whether to apply for a 120-day temporary license or a full annually renewed cannabis business license. The temporary license is generally a quicker process with fewer requirements and no application fee. The purpose for the temporary license is to enable a cannabis business to continue doing business while the Bureau processes its annual license application. Only businesses that are authorized by their city or county may take advantage of the temporary license. Once the temporary application has been approved or denied, you then have the option to submit the additional information needed for an annual license. Here are some additional stats on select California counties showing whether cultivation, manufacturing, and retail cannabis activities are either approved or banned. By approved, we just mean that the use of medical recreational cannabis for commercial, cultivation, manufacturing, or retail activity is allowed or permitted. And by banned, we mean that no commercial cannabis activity is allowed or permitted within the county, or there are no regulations in place. So I'll start with Santa Barbara County. In Santa Barbara, all three, cultivation, manufacturing, and retail, are approved. In Ventura County, only cultivation is approved. Manufacturing and retail are both banned. In Los Angeles County, cultivation, manufacturing, and retail are approved. Orange County, cultivation, manufacturing, and retail all banned. San Diego, only cultivation is approved. Manufacturing and retail are banned. And I'll conclude with this. Incorporated cities may have their own local policies for regulating commercial cannabis activities separate from county regulations. This just means that despite approval by a county, cities will, within the county, tend to have their own policies. And this concludes our licensing section for today.
Thanks, Osa. For more Cannabis Quick Talks like this one on the latest legislation, news updates, business activities, and industry information, please check out our Cannabis Resource Center on the Citron Cooperman website and sign up for our newsletter. Thanks again and have a great day.
Thank you.